YouTube, welcome back again, and thank you for being here. Today, Zane and I are continuing our series of previewing the NHL standings for the 2025-2026 season. Today, we're going to be going through the Central Division. If you didn't see our last part where we went through the Pacific Division, check that out. But before we get into it, wanted to say if you like the content, give us a like and make sure to subscribe so you see our next parts in this series and beyond. But we will start at the bottom of the Central Division as it laid at the end of last season. So, Zane, why don't you get us started with your thoughts on the Chicago Blackhawks?
Yes, the Chicago Blackhawks. A very exciting team, no doubt. Bunch of
Hmm.
good players coming up through the system this year. They'll have a lot more too. A bigger transition from last year. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say
You'll
so
have at
for
least
sure.
definitely some new faces from their farm system and stuff like that. I don't think they'll be as bad as they were. I don't think they'll be second to last place like they
Yeah,
were this year. I just don't think either the Sharks nor the Blackhawks kind of similar. They're gonna make a jump in some way, whether that be a fringe bubble wild card team or just out of that like 80, 90 point range.
yeah.
Probably more low 80s maybe. So I won't even tease you with picking up the board. They ain't on it.
Yeah, no,
They are
they are not a
not.
playoff team. That's a fact, dude.
No, I do. I am excited to see Spencer Knight. If we're just going through
Yeah,
the team real quick, I'm excited to watch Spencer Knight play a full season in the Blackhawks jersey. He played good. Then he
yeah,
seemed to taper off a little bit. So I don't know if it was just whatever. It's just the end of the kind of meaningless games. He just
yeah.
was that or what have you. But I'm excited to see that defense. I honestly I can't. Let me look at Vlasic. Ooh, fun player to watch is Vlasic, Rinzel, Connor Murphy. Oh, Artie.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
yeah.
So I think that one, honestly, if we're talking about players most excited to watch, for me, it's
Yeah,
probably Artie on the Blackhawks.
that's
Just
fair.
because when was the last time on their back end they've had somebody that's like shown a little bit of flash, other than defensive two-way talent, but you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
That sort of Artie style, and I don't know. Their offense doesn't change very much again, except for people coming up through the system a little bit.
Yeah,
But there's
Frankie
really,
especially.
other than Nazar Bedard, who's gonna pack that punch that they
Yeah,
need to get some points? I think it's very like 1-2, and then a huge drop off in points to the rest.
yeah, that's pretty fair, honestly. And I can kind of jump in. I
Yeah,
will say just under the radar a little bit more with regard to the whole league, but on the back end, Sam Rinzel definitely probably going to spend more time in the NHL than Artie for the record. And
ooh,
just as fun, if not even more so, at the end of last season to watch Sam Rinzel was. So, if anyone is not already aware, definitely pencil him in. We might be talking about him in a further video if we go over Calder candidates at some point. But I'll digress there. But yeah, to your point about the forward group, dude. Frankie Nazar is probably going to be like the most impactful. I guess I'm going to say addition to the team,
yeah,
even though he's not an addition. But yeah, I called him out in the breakout video as well. I expect him to be the biggest difference maker on the team in general.
yeah,
I will
Narsty,
say,
if you will.
what was that?
I said Narsty, if you will.
Narsty,
Sorry.
sure. No, I fuck with that honestly. But yeah, so I think Frankie Nazar is a huge addition. Absolutely was lighting it up at the end of last season and tore it up. I believe led Team USA at the Men's World Championship this off
Yeah,
season as well. So very very excited to see what Frank brings. But outside of him and Bedard, to your point, like on paper, especially on Daily Faceoff's graphic here, like not a whole lot of guys moving the needle offensively. They do have like some difference makers in the bottom six with Landon Slaggert and Oliver Moore. Ollie Moore might spend some time in the AHL, honestly, but Landon Slaggert's already been seen to like be a difference maker in the bottom six. Don't really know how high that ceiling will go, but I digress. But outside of people listed here as well, they might see time from Nick Lardis. They might see time from, well, they will see time from Anton Frondel at the end of the season, but obviously that
yeah.
isn't going to make a huge difference now. But Colton Dock also isn't listed here. I expect him to play. But again, even still, like game breakers, guys who are like single-handedly going to help you take jumps in the standings. It's not a lot doing, if you will, in the forward
Yeah,
group.
and I guess it's hard because I don't want to discount Ryan Donato had a 30-goal season last year.
Yeah, but like,
As I was gonna say, like I don't want to discount him, but also like that is his first 30-goal season,
mhm,
and he's played on multiple different. He's had a chance on multiple different teams. So
yep,
who knows if that's something that's like if that's more or less like a flash in the pan, or but
yeah,
like that's I don't want to discount it, but also like it just doesn't seem like
hard to put
reliable
stock
to be
into it
like
at the same
Ryan
time, though.
Donato's gonna score 30 again.
Yep, absolutely agree with you on that. And I
Yeah.
will say, I'd be remiss not to point out, like, ideally, and I believe this, I think Connor Bedard's ready to go nuclear this year.
Mm.
Um, I think that's what you're hoping for as a Blackhawks
Yeah.
fan, anyway, right? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah. So
And
I'm with
he's
you.
got media. He's got media. He's got fuel. Like there's a lot of
Ah,
doubt. I mean,
yeah,
in terms of like people talking about like and like you could talk about the Sharks Blackhawks like rivalry a little bit of there, but also just like in terms of media people saying the vibes aren't really good around there. So like I don't
yeah.
know. I think also a
Well,
chance to just discount all that.
appropriately, that's a pretty good segue to talk about Spencer Knight, because I know you mentioned him, but another big difference maker this season, and another
Yeah.
reason, well, part of a reason why the vibes should be different this year, because
Gotcha.
I think there's much made about like Seth Jones being kind of like a locker room cancer. I think that's probably like a little, well, probably more than a little unfair to Seth Jones, but like
Yeah.
there was a genuine, you could see this team's whole energy shift after that trade. And to your point about Spencer Knight, I want to touch on that because he was amazing game one with the Blackhawks, and then like at least for me, I saw very quickly the Blackhawks, and I am gonna say Spencer too directly, like get in a habit of letting in a goal and immediately letting in a second goal. And
Mm.
I know Spencer Knight has like a lot of history with the NHL, and moreover like a history with mental health, and I know he's an advocate for mental health, but I don't say this as a slight at all, but I know that like routine is very important for Spencer, and I've heard him talk about it a little bit in the off season about like trying to get settled into find like a place to live in Chicago. Like last I knew, he still hasn't, and I just know the impact that can have on any human being. So very interested to see how another year in the team, in the city for that matter, will allow him to kind of settle in and maybe shake some of, if there was anything mentally happening there with the two consecutive goals back to back. Kind of my gut tells me that there might have been something. Interested to see how that might kind of shake out. So yeah, I'm also very excited to see Spencer Knight. Actually, I don't think I mentioned him when we did the breakouts, but like potential breakout candidate for the Blackhawks, Spencer Knight. So anyway, very exciting team. I didn't even mention this yet, but I don't have them finishing last in the league or second last for that matter. I have them second from last in the Central Division. So taking a step forward both divisionally and in the league standings, but we'll get to that at another time. So yeah, I'm with you. A little bit of a step forward, and I agree with your point too. I think they and a lot of other teams are taking a step forward this year, other than one team I think is not taking a step forward that we will talk about next, I think. So that said, Zane, who's next on our list to talk about in the Central?
The next is the Nashville Predators, which like
Yeah,
biggest disappointment. I think the biggest disappointment may be a weird statement because I don't think
I
like
think it's
they thought
apt
they were going to
though.
be good, but I don't think it'll be it was just they just spent a lot of money and they got a big splash and it just
Yeah.
went nowhere.
Yeah,
And
there was so much hype around them though. Like
they
disappointment feels right, but there shouldn't have been that much hype, I think. But keep going.
no, yeah, they kind of fell out of the gate and then never got up. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't. It was feel like by November it was like okay, so Nashville's not making it. Like that's
Yep.
weird.
Yep.
So yeah, they weren't very good last year, and I know that was I don't really know what that was about. I'm really not sure who wasn't before. I don't know if it was Soros just not living up to
That was a
the
big part
hype.
of it at the start for the record, but keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
I know he got better as the season went on
Yeah.
as well, but I just like I think we've joked about this before, but it really does feel like sometimes this Predators team, their system is a place where like high goal scorers, like offense just kind of dies. a
Yeah.
little bit when you step into Nashville. They play like a really grindy game, and it really isn't made for like people who score a ton of goals. And
Yeah.
it has always felt like that. Every time they get a big score, they always have kind of a more down year.
Yeah.
I know Duchesne kind of picked it up, but also he's playing way better on the Stars than he was with the with his time with the Predators. I believe so. Like
Yeah.
I don't see this team. I know they've improved. They have Bunting now,
Hmm.
which I think is a great ad for them. A sneaky good player. I guess not. That's not true. I mean, he played for Toronto. It's not sneaky good. He had a lot of eyes on him. I think he's a great player.
Uh-huh.
Um, I after that, I'm kind of I still don't see what much has how they'll
Changed.
be
Yeah.
much different. Yeah, this year I think that they'll not be in the same. I don't think they'll come out of the gates and just lose a lot. Like I don't think they'll
Yeah.
be as bad because I just think that also feels like an anomaly that they were bad. Maybe they would have been like mid, but like I don't think that
Yeah.
bad.
I mean,
So
I have a bit of a hot take in response to that, honestly, but I don't want to cut you off entirely.
yeah, I got nothing else to say. I just think the Preds will not make the playoffs. They're not on my board.
No.
No, I think they do have a chance. I think they, like I said, they won't be bad. I think they have a chance to sneak into a wild card spot. That's if
Sure.
Saros plays really well, and if
Yeah.
all of those players that had a down year had an up year
Yeah.
last year, so to this year. So yeah, that's how I feel about the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, all that's valid. And like I said, I think I have like a little bit of a hot take. It doesn't feel like it should be a hot take, in all honesty, but I don't see people talking about it very much. But I want to go back to your original point. Oh, and I have them last in the Central. Let me get that off the bat. I have them
Okay,
last in the Central.
okay.
So
Noted,
that's a hot
noted
take.
Chicago fan too. Noted Chicago
Yeah,
fan. Noted
bias for
Chicago
there for
fan.
sure. I
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
like I said though, I only have Chicago second from last in the Central, so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a. I think that like I think the dialogue around it being like this shock, and you're not saying this to be clear, but like at large, the dialogue around it being shocking that they were so bad, I think is a little bit unjust, because I want to take us back 2 years ago, pre-U2 concert, if you recall that story in the 2023-24 season. The Predators were god awful, absolutely terrible. And the team was all going to go to a U2 concert. They, I don't remember who it was now in the organization, but like banned the players from going to the U2 concert. They rallied behind it, made the playoffs, made a little bit of noise in the playoffs. Then come last offseason, they signed Stamkos and Marchessault, and just like you were Brady Shea. I'd be remiss not to call out Brady Shea too. He's down here on the
Mhm.
decor, right?
Yeah.
Um, and they're the talk of the town. All of a sudden, they're the most hyped team. Like this playoff team just spent, I think it was like $100 million in free agency or something crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in that hype, last offseason, we all forgot about like how dog shit this
Terrible.
team was. Like,
Yeah.
and then come last season, it starts and they stumble out the gate, which is absolutely apt. And moreover, like Saros shouldn't have been as bad as he was at the start of
No.
last season. Like that is out of the ordinary. So like, yeah, there is still something to be said about them underperforming regardless, but I just like I think that we lose sight of how terrible they were before going on an insane tear to make the playoffs in the 23-24 season. And I'm trying to keep that in mind when I'm like thinking
Mm.
about them regressing to the mean, so to speak, right? Like they weren't a playoff team before they signed Stamkos and Marchessault, and now this experiment seems to have gone pretty terribly, and
Yeah.
I'm just not really sure what to make of it. I know there's been trade talk around Jonathan Marchessault. Um, I don't know if anything will come from that. I will also call out that I know Steven Stamkos found his form a lot more towards the end of the season, just like UC Saros did for that matter. But somebody who I want to point out as well that I didn't watch the Preds closely enough to like say this with absolute confidence, but I don't feel like Brady Shea was the same Brady Shea that we saw in Carolina, and he would not be the first defenseman that we've seen come out of Carolina and all of a sudden just not be quite the impact guy that we thought he was. Because Carolina has a system that just serves defensemen
Highlights.
really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like some takeaways there. I will say though, again, talking about regressing to the mean, Roman Yossi had a very down year. I don't expect that to continue too much. I will say though, he is getting a little bit older, so like,
He's getting up there, yeah.
does he bounce all the way back? I don't know.
And are those injuries lingering? Because like I know
Yeah,
that it seems like now it's like I don't remember if it was him, if he was injured for a large portion, or if he was
yeah,
just like on and off injured.
yeah, yeah, but
But
not
yeah, I think
himself
that's also
regardless.
a concern. Yeah, you hope
Yeah,
all those kind of things are in the past because you could see,
yeah.
if that was the case, you could see why he might have like it was just not a good year for him.
Yeah, and it wasn't a good team for any, or a good year for anybody on the team, I should say.
No.
So that's all comes into the equation here. But I just like I don't really see what makes them better this year, other than them, like I said, regressing to the mean, and like some of these players just playing more so how they should have in the first place. But the roster leaves a lot to be desired, and um, I don't know. I kind of like I said about Seattle. I feel like there's something off about this team that like I don't feel like they fixed it in the offseason. You know what I mean? Or I guess
Yeah, it feels like
I
the
said that about
puzzle
the
is still
Canes more, but
broken. Yeah, it
yeah,
feels like the puzzle is still broken. You're just like,
yeah,
that's great. You added some pieces, but
yeah.
yeah,
I could
I'm
see
loving it.
like I should say too here with regard to Nashville, I could see them being like me being very wrong about them.
Oh yeah, true.
I do think that they could like boom or bust. I'm not like I don't mean this as like an absolute indictment on them, but my gut tells me that they're trending towards blowing it up halfway through as opposed to like getting back into the playoffs. Honestly, like that, it feels like it's one of those two things for me. And again, my gut tells me that they're probably more likely to blow it up. And honestly, dude, like you said, I am a Blackhawks fan. So this is not going to be shocking for me to say, but I'd be so happy to see them blow it up halfway through. Not necessarily because they're the Predators, but oh my goodness, dude, if they, I wish nothing but the best for UC Saros as a human. But dude, if UC Saros signed this crazy contract, they trade
Just
Yaroslav
for them,
Askarov just for him to turn into a pumpkin and the team to be terrible, like holy moly, what a storyline that is. So anyway, but yeah, anyway, again, Nashville last in the Central in my opinion.
yeah, not
And
making
they're
it.
also, like, to be fair, Blackhawks and Nashville and a couple other teams that we'll talk about in a little bit do fall victim to the Central being
Being
arguably the
a
most
tough
competitive division in the
division.
league. Yeah,
Yep.
so like
Yeah, I think there's
worth
something to
mentioning
be
too.
said about
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
there is something to be said. All right, next we have the Utah. Well, last year they finished as a Utah Hockey Club. Now the Utah
Yeah,
Mammoth.
yeah.
I excuse me if I don't just start gushing for the next I don't know 5 minutes. I mean, also let's bring back the curtain. I was living in Salt Lake City when this team came into Salt Lake City, so I watched a couple of their games in their inaugural season. I
Yeah,
watched the early Sharks Utah game in which the Sharks came back from 4-1 in the third period, so it was a lot of fun.
yeah,
Um, but this team is so good, and I think they
yeah.
get better. And this team is, they have struggled a little bit. I think they kind of wanted to be a playoff team last year. Obviously, every team wants to be a playoff team, but I think that was an aspiration that they could have hit. I think that
Hmm.
they could have hit. But I think they just fell a little bit short. But I don't think it was for lack of like team. I just think is again
Yeah,
they play in a really tough division.
yeah.
I think they also had some injuries down the stretch, as well that kind of led to some weird minutes
Jersey was
and
injured
stuff
like
like
all
this.
season. Sorry to cut you off, but like that's probably worth keeping in mind there. And
Yes.
Sergachev was
Yep.
off and on injured all year, I think. So to your point, that definitely was part of the equation.
Because they have their goalie and Veggie or Velmelka, however you want to pronounce it. Very hard. I know
Stud,
they call him Veggie, so
MVP,
that's how I'm gonna refer to him as.
most
Um,
veggie player, dude.
yeah, he just recently got an extension, I believe.
I think
Recently
that's
signed a
right.
new contract.
Yep.
So they believe in him, and from what I've seen, he is pretty good. I think I think he's an average right now. I would just goalie, but like in this league, really need much better than that
Yep.
um, to win.
Yep.
Um, Oli Mata has played weirdly really solid defensively on this team,
True.
which is great. I'm glad he's found sort of that thing. But
Yeah.
now they're gonna have Sean Dursey, or sorry, they already had Sean Dursey, right? Is that
He
correct?
was injured, but yes, he'll be back.
Yeah. They're gonna have Sean Dursey back. Marino is on their back end as well. I think he was also for a lot. I feel like
They
their
had
team
a
was
fair amount, yeah. I want to say you're right.
hospital
I'm not
team,
positive, but yeah.
but like I like their defense. I think their defense is really good. I do, Sergachev is Sergachev.
Yeah.
He gets full health, but on offense, they were already good, and I think both of us are very much love and are high on JJ Paterka.
Yeah.
Um, so he's there now. That's great. I don't think Tanev, Tanev's not. We're not gonna talk about Tanev being like a huge impact player, but a solid
Yeah.
play, a solid like gutty,
The team's
gritty.
better with him for sure.
Yes, and their identity, like Clayton Keller already is kind of that player, but then you get another, like solidifies what I think that they're going for. Their like new identity and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
really like it. Cooley, he's as I think he's gonna be nasty now. Like he's
Yeah, dude.
disgusting next year. At
Yeah.
least I think. Again, could be wrong about it. I said Keller, Kraus, Genther. He's really good. Like this whole team, and like I know Schmaltz is a kind of a fool's gold player sometimes.
That's
Um,
fair. Yeah.
but I really like this team makeup. I really think that like next year they will take a step, and they are the first Central team that is going on the board. They're going in this
Yeah.
first wild card spot.
Yep.
First year with the new name, first year with their name, first
Yeah.
year in the playoffs, 100%.
Yeah.
They were good. I just like I said, I kind of gush about them. I know I've seen a couple of their, but I just really like the team. They're young too, which like I don't know,
Yeah.
not a lot of teams feel young in the Central besides the Blackhawks, but like young and
Yeah,
potent.
it's not the same, obviously. Yeah. Minnesota,
Yeah,
maybe, but
yeah, that's true. But
still.
like potent, like everybody's high on Cooley. We have a lot of players that people are really like. This team's expectations, I think, are high too. Could be a benefit or not.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah.
but I really like this team. I think they're hitting that. I think they are making the playoffs. I don't think they get into the control, but I do think they're making the playoffs in that first wild card spot. If I'm putting the Sharks, they're definitely getting more points than the Sharks. So they're getting that first wild card spot.
That's valid, dude. All right, yeah, let me you pretty much encapsulated most of my thoughts, I'll be honest, but like
Yeah.
I'll reiterate some of what you said too. I also have them in the playoffs. I have them as the second wild card team. And I should correct myself here to say in the last video when I was talking about Anaheim, I said I had Anaheim as a wild card team. I have Anaheim as the third team in the Pacific, but a very weak Pacific. So if we're talking overall, I would have Anaheim with less points than Utah, to be clear. But
yeah. But
I
top three in the
digress.
Pacific. Yeah.
So yeah, I have Utah as technically the second wild card team coming from the Central Division. And yeah, just like I was saying, I couldn't really agree more with what you're saying, Zane. I think these top three players are nuts in Keller, Cooley, and Genther.
Oof.
Like
Yeah.
just
If
again,
they all
just
take
nuts,
a step up
dude.
because they all should,
They all could at
it's
least. I think Keller, we
yeah,
might know what Keller is, but I think like
yes, yeah.
I already
The
said
players
it. I
around
think
them. Yeah.
Cooley's ready to go nuclear. I think Gunther could be like uh, I don't want to like overhype him. I almost said like the next Ovechkin. That's probably a little bit extreme,
that's
but
a
like,
lot.
but
Yeah.
he's like such a solid, like pure goal scorer. And I don't know that this franchise, I'll say, going back to Arizona, I don't think they've ever really had that guy. So I do think that he could go down as like the best goal scorer in this franchise's history. Genuinely, like that guy's so underrated at this point. He's just nuts. So you got two insane playmakers in Cooley and Keller to kind of couple with him, and you could do the McDavid Draisaitl sort of thing where you go nuclear on one line, but you also separate them depending on what the situation calls for. And then you have JJ Paterka being added to like the top six with daily faceoff has Barrett Hayton and Nick Schmaltz in there. I don't really know if Barrett Hayton stays as a top six player long term on this team, but he looked the part at the end of last season, to his credit. So like
Yes. Yeah.
he's had like a really weird kind of come up in Barrett Hayton has. It feels like every year it's Barrett Hayton's year, and then all of a sudden it's not anymore. But again, he looked the part last year, so that'd be great. But yeah, I think the addition of JJ Paterka gives this team such a legit top six. Honestly, like one of the better top sixes in the West, in all honesty,
Yeah,
in my
I agree.
opinion. Um, so yeah,
Like a low key, one of the most probably exciting to watch
I would.
next year.
They're probably the most exciting team to watch going into next season for me. But obviously biases aside, because like the Blackhawks, I'm more excited about. But
Yeah,
yeah, duh.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So yeah, agree there. And I also like you were kind of I guess not directly saying this, but I think this is a super solid bottom six as well in the forward group. Like Brandon Tanev, I I don't know. Like Brandon Tanev, I know there was a weird dialogue around him when he signed like a super weird contract with the Penguins. I think it was right, like a
Yeah,
long-term
yeah.
bottom six contract, and that's always just a
6
weird
year or
thing.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but his whole career has been one of those guys that like I want Brandon Tanev on my team. I don't know about you, but
Yes.
like,
Yep.
but yeah, that's a guy I want on the team. Kevin Stenlund's a solid bottom sixer. Liam O'Brien, like I'm not gonna lie. I don't think Liam O'Brien is like the best on ice player, but like that's a vibey guy. Spicy
Yes.
tuna.
But I say, yeah, spicy tuna, exactly right.
Yeah,
Like you
like
got a nickname like that, you know that guy
yeah,
doing some shit in the locker room. He
yeah,
is
yeah.
funny. He is a glue guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think in hockey we make a little bit too much about locker room energy,
for
but
sure.
I think with Liam O'Brien, he's like he fits that bill in my
It might
opinion.
be legit. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you got Alex Kerfoot, Jack McBain, and Lawson Krause on daily faceoffs third line here, and again, just all solid players. I'm not complaining about, frankly. So yeah, great team or a good team. I do still think like they're still trending upwards. I think they're still finding their identity a little bit, like
Yeah.
solidifying their roles. Maybe is a little bit more what I'm getting at. But I also, just like you said, I'm a fan of this decor. I don't think this decor is what it's going to be all year with John Marino, Oli Mata, Ian Cole, Nate Schmidt. I think I'm almost positive one of those four guys are going to find their way out of the lineup because Dmitry Simashev and Daniil Boot are coming over from the KHL. Daniil Boot is a forward. I don't know where he'll slot in up there, but it doesn't, I don't think it makes as much of a difference, the addition of Daniil Boot, just to be frank. So, but Dmitry Simashev, I think, is a significant needle mover for the back end here, and I'm very interested to see where he slots in. I'm biased, but I'm probably yanking Ian Cole out of this lineup as fast as I can to get Simashev in there.
Stanley Cup champion Ian
Yeah, miss
Cole.
me,
Come
dude.
on.
Predator Ian Cole. Put him on that team instead, I guess. But and then I agree with you on Veggie too. Like I genuinely think that like this is a hot take, dude. Winnipeg Jets fans, every team in the Central's fan base is gonna hate me after this video. Honestly, I would have rather Karel Vejmelka get the MVP of the league than Carter Hart with the amount of games that this guy played last year. This dude was leaned on by his team.
Veggie?
Yeah, more than
Yeah.
any
He was in
goalie
the
in the
net
league.
a lot.
A lot. Yeah, I forget what the number got up to for consecutive starts for him, but it was ridiculous. And I didn't realize that they have Vanacek as a backup, but that's a spotty career for Vanacek. But like, if he finds his form, that's a serviceable backup too. So just like,
Yeah.
again, good team. I'm hoping for them to make the playoffs. I think that
Yes.
Utah, just like you said, very exciting team to watch, and I would love to see them take a next step in their franchise's history here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you.
Kind
Like
of
I said,
shed
in
the
the playoffs.
old like Coyotes can't get it done, can't do nothing.
Yeah, the
Sort of
stink.
if they can its second year make the playoffs, I think you've
Yeah.
already got your own identity.
Yeah.
Mammoth. All right, cool. Yeah, excellent. We'll talk about the next team. We spent a lot of time talking
Yep.
about Utah. Great team. They're making the playoffs.
Yeah.
St. Louis Blues. What an interesting
These
team they were
jerseys.
last year. What a interesting team.
Yes.
Kind of do nothing the whole year and then take a run at the end, right? Like that was mostly their season. I gotta be honest, like I don't like the Blues. If I do like Kairu. There are a couple players I like on this
Sure.
team. I do not like Binnington. That's probably of it. And it does, I guess. I should just say, it has nothing to do with the Blues beating the Sharks
does.
on their Stanley Cup run. It has a lot to do with that. No. But in all honesty, I think Jordan Binnington's kind of like, I don't know, he's a hothead and like, yes, he has a cup. I still don't see like the statistical reason he has to act like that, like he's some hotshot.
Yeah.
That's my take.
He won
Again,
4
he does have
nations,
a cup.
bro. He's Canada's tendy.
Yeah.
He's carrying the weight of a nation. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, it's just Good. I'm so happy for them, but I don't. They're not on my board, and that's probably obvious by like the first 2 minutes of just not liking them.
Yeah.
No, I don't have them making the playoffs, and it really just has to do with the fact that the Central's tough, and
Yeah.
they can't rely on doing that again next year. They just can't rely on going on an insane run at the end of the year. Like, which Binnington are we going to get? The end of the year
Sure.
run Binnington or
Yeah.
start of the season Binnington?
Or the
And
Bennington
lately
from
it's
like
been
2 years ago where he was just horrendous. Like
yeah. I mean, there's been all different shades of Binnington, right? So who are we getting this
50
year? We're
Shades
getting
of
the Cup
Bitter.
run. 50 Shades of Bitter. I think that takes place in Seattle, but honestly, I probably already know too much. But yeah, you have that. I just which Bennington are you gonna get? Their defense is kind of like it's unfortunate that
Suspect.
Krug is just kind of done.
Yeah.
I think he was a good player. He's a good person to just have on that DN. I just don't know. Like they have solid defensive players, but they seem to just their bottom of that defense is really not good.
Yeah.
And I know they just signed Logan
Mayu.
Mayu or
Yeah.
yeah Mayu. Not really looking forward to that either. It's another like whatever
Yeah.
kind of signing. I do like Pia Suter. I think Pia Suter's a great player, but he's like a middle
Same.
six, bottom six kind of player.
Yeah.
So that's not really doing much to change their season outcome. Nick Bugstack, I think another player that's just not really changing
Yeah.
their outcome next year. And yeah, I just don't see them doing much of anything different except making that run at the end of the season. I don't
Yeah.
think they make that run at the end of the season, and I just think they miss the playoffs this year.
Fair. I think I'm going to challenge you a little bit though, just with the sentiment of not making that run at the end of the season, because I think the one thing that we need to keep in mind with the Blues, let me say before I get too far ahead of myself, I also have them missing the playoffs, and I also have that being like them falling victim to the competitiveness of the Central. Moreover, just to be clear, I think that the middle three teams of the Central, to be clear, Minnesota, Utah, and St. Louis, I think it's going to be a dog fight between those three teams of who's making the playoffs. I think I think we're seeing tiebreakers.
Honestly, yeah.
Absolutely. There's not enough spots, and I frankly think all of them should end up in the playoffs, if I'm being honest. And I hate the Blues, for the record. I hate this team more than any other team in the NHL. Hate them. But anyway, my point about pushing back with the run at the end of the season, Jim Montgomery is I think the X factor here, and should not have been fired by the Bruins. Obviously wasn't the problem.
No, but I also think
guess
like,
I don't want to say
Coach Buff.
Buff. But maybe. I think Monty is a little bit immune to the new coach Buff. In all honesty, he's a great coach. Although, like, I guess I might as well probably call out to the way that his time in Dallas ended. I won't rehash that out of respect for Jim Montgomery, but he has been fired for valid reasons before, although I don't think that his time in Boston came to an end for a reasonable reason. But anyway, my point here is I think Jim Montgomery is super legit, and I do think that he's going to be able to get more out of this team than I might expect. I don't know. I'm just going to say it, I guess. I don't see Robert Thomas in the same way that I think a lot of people do, and I'm not trying to disrespect him there. He's a great player. He's an elite player, honestly, I should say. I don't quite understand how he does it. I guess that's really what it is, and that's a me problem. That's a skill issue on my half there. But it's I don't know. He's weird. It's I don't know how he really gets it done there. And I think that the top six is just in a little bit of a weird spot, honestly. I don't know how
it's kind of weak. I think they have depth, but right? I think their top six is weak. I think they have depth, but their top six is weak. I think that just is their team makeup is just that, right? Kyrou is their top center, but how many teams would he be in a top center for?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was just gonna say. Again, I don't mean disrespect to Robert Thomas or any of these players for that matter, if I'm being honest, but I don't see the elite talent like I do.
Sorry, Kyrou's not a center. Sorry, Kyrou's not a center.
But still, yeah.
Thomas.
I see your point nonetheless. So, but you think of I don't know. I don't want to jump the gun to any other teams, but Utah, honestly, Logan Cooley is a game-breaking forward. You know what I mean? Clayton
Yes,
Keller is a
yeah.
game-breaking forward. Like, they don't have that, and that doesn't mean that they can't find success, but I don't know, I guess I'm not as clear as what their identity is. But again, I'd be remiss not to say Jim Montgomery plays a pivotal role there in allowing this team to find their identity, just like, Rod
Yeah.
Brind'Amour is like the piece for
Yeah.
Carolina, right? But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, the
so yeah.
piece that can't win a playoffs.
Well,
Wait.
we'll talk about that another time.
Whatever.
But yeah, just again, so the top 6 is kind of weird here.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'll just
really...
go on record saying my Kyrou, he's a right wing, but I still think my point stands where I don't think he'd be a winger on a top line on a lot of other teams.
No, and
in the Central at least.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, that point was not lost on me in all honesty. So the Daily Faceoff has Jimmy Snuggerud as the top winger. I doubt that that's how this actually shakes out, but and I know I said it in our breakout video, I think Jimmy Snuggerud's gonna be a great addition to this team, but I'm just like, I don't know, you got to piece that out. You got to feel that out as the season goes on, and maybe a couple points are lost along the way while they feel that out. And like I was saying, I think this is going to be a really, really close race for the final 2 wild card spots in the Central Division. So I just think that they fall just short, frankly. But all that to say, go ahead.
I guess like when I'm saying a team doesn't make the playoffs, I'm not saying they're like trash or anything, because like I feel like these teams are going to be maybe like 4 and 6 points apart, right at the end of, like, especially like you said in this middle of the Central. Like 4-6 point. I don't think it's gonna be a huge gap in between those teams. So when I'm talking about the St. Louis Blues not making the playoffs, I'm not saying they're gonna be awful.
No,
I'm just saying like they might. Me personally, that's not. I don't see it.
Yep. Yeah, I genuinely, like I said, I think this comes down to a tiebreaker in the Central. It might even be like a 3-way tiebreaker, because there's a lot of good on all these 3 teams. Again, I know we haven't gotten to Minnesota yet, but I'll save it.
We're about to.
We will, but I'll touch on the decor, and I don't really want to say anything different about Binnington. I'm with you exactly like you said. I don't really know what you're getting from Binnington. I don't trust him as a human or a goalie. But yeah, like I don't really trust that. There's some suspect behavior going on there. So I do want to talk more about the defense, though, to your point. And one thing that I do want to point out, like, I was like, as much as I hate the Blues, I was pretty happy to see Cam Fowler like have a bit of a renaissance coming to St. Louis. Unfortunately, like, that happened in the Winter Classic against the Blackhawks, or at least the Blackhawks fell victim to it, I guess, is really what I should say. So that was sad. But like, as a hockey player, like, happy to see that for Cam Fowler, but I don't think that maintains through this season, if I'm being honest. However, I think Philip Broberg is only scratching the surface, so like maybe there's something there. I hate Logan Mailloux. I hate his whole story. I frankly don't think he has any place in the NHL, but that's just me. And I don't know. He's not the kind of defenseman that I envision for the Blues personally. Like, and maybe that's just like a bad take or an expired take by me. But I see the Blues having like these big, like, hulking, mean defensemen.
DFDs,
and Logan Mailloux is more of like an OFD kind of guy. So like, I don't know. It's just a little weird. Like the past few years with like Perunovic on the Blues, like that felt like an awkward fit to me too. And I say that, but here we are with Cam Fowler and Philip Broberg finding success. So I should open my mind a little bit. But it just feels a little awkward, I guess, on the defense. That's really what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Nope. 100%. I feel that. I think honestly, what it's going to come down to is what Binnington. I think if we get a good Binnington, I think they might wild card if they get this like Binnington that we've kind of seen more of the last couple of years.
Yep.
I don't think the team is going to be able to get there, but we'll move on. We'll talk about the Minnesota Wild, kind of an undersold team, I think. I'm going to say that and also tell you I don't have them making the playoffs.
Really? That's interesting. Tell me more,
but
brother.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few things, right? I think, like you said, the Central, there's just not playoff spots, and like if I stole a wild card spot
for the Sharks.
Pacific, for the Pacific, I stole a wild card, so there's only 4 spots I can give out, and it's Utah. I've already given away 1 to Utah, so there's only 3 spots out of the remaining teams. You have Avs, Stars, Winnipeg, Wild. Who's going to be the odd one out? It feels like the Wild to me, and that's just
it has to be one of Utah or Minnesota at that point. Yeah,
exactly. So, I don't see them making the playoffs. I also see them making the playoffs. This is another one of those like I have to choose between teams. If you're telling me, do I think Minnesota Wild can make the playoffs? Yes.
Yeah.
But on this, they're not on my board, and I don't have them making the playoffs here. I think they're a great team. They're one of only 2 playoff teams last year to enter the playoffs with a negative goal differential. Not a stat I really look at a whole lot other than playoff teams and non-playoff teams because it's just it's a pattern. You have a positive goal differential. Most of the positive goal differential teams made the playoffs. Made.
That's true. Yeah.
Only 2 were eliminated, but they're plus. Like I said, it was 2 teams that had a positive plus didn't make it. That was the Blue Jackets and Rangers. But again, +1, +5. That's not like a huge.
Sure.
They weren't positive by a ton. But then you have -11 for the Wild. I think that's not an insignificant amount of a goal differential.
Yeah.
But that just speaks more to their defense and goaltending, I think, less to like that really doesn't matter to me. I don't think just because they had a no negative goal differential, but I think it speaks a lot to their defense and goaltending.
Yep.
Spotty. I think it cost them some games last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think like the team's good. The team is really good. You got Krill the Thrill. You got all those players.
Yep.
They even have. Who's coming in this year?
Well, Danila Yurov, Zeev Buyum.
Yes, sorry, Zeev
Yeah.
Buyum. I like this team. Looks. I mean, they added Tarasenko. Again, not what he was even like 4 years ago. Like he's just not that player.
Not even due with the Panthers, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Like so. I don't think that makes a difference, but the team is good. It's depth. They're one of those teams that there's just not a lot to say. They play good. They get good results a lot of the time. Again, their goaltending can be the spot that kind of, Phil Gustafson was really good.
Yeah.
But there are also just like you got to play the backup sometimes, and also what happened. He's not gonna go undefeated. So, like, what are those losses gonna look like and stuff like that. So. I don't know. Like I said, I think they look good. Phil Gustafson was great last year. I just hope that they have the ability, I don't have them making the playoffs, so it's weird to talk positively. They made the playoffs last year.
Sure.
I think they very well could. I don't have it on here. They very well could. The team's good. It's solid. I trying to say negative things because I have them in the playoffs, but I feel weird saying negative things. The team's really good.
I feel you, dude. This is kind of the same like battle that I was just trying to convey with St. Louis. Like, I don't think the Blues are a bad team. I hate them, again, just to be clear, but I don't think they're a bad team. And I think like this is a similar mindset that you have with the Minnesota Wild here. They're not a bad team, but somebody's got to miss. Genuinely, right?
Yeah. They would make it easily in the Pacific. They'd be part of the top 3.
That's pretty true, dude. Sure. That is pretty true.
The Wild would be top 3 in the Pacific. They're just somebody's not gonna make it. I've stolen spots. It just is what it is. They're a good team. I think chances that they do make the playoffs are high. I think me saying they aren't is in the minority.
That's probably I feel you on that. So I will say, like, I think the only 2 things that I'll like say in response to you, like, one with your point of Gustafson in net, like the question mark is pretty significant in the backup position, and that is in line with the point that you're making. I think like somebody's got to play those other games and like what happens in those games. And Jesper Wallstedt is who Daily Faceoff has listed as the backup. Jesper Wallstedt is a high pedigree goaltender. Young, has looked like one of, if not the best goaltending prospect in hockey up until last year, where he looked not himself. And that, like I said, just accentuates the question mark in goal, especially with the backup position there for the Wild. So to your point, hard to know what to expect there.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm going to lean into the pedigree that Wallstedt comes with and expect him to be a little bit more himself next year. And I think probably make the inverse of what you're saying, frankly. I think that he makes the difference in the favor of the Wild personally. I do have them in the playoffs. That might be obvious at this point because like I said, 5 of these teams are making for me.
Yeah.
St. Louis, Shy, and Nashville are the ones not making it. But I have them in the first wild card position, so I have them ahead of Utah, But like I was just saying, I think this genuinely could be like a three-way tie with a tiebreaker making the difference. But the other
Yeah.
thing that I want to say, the reason that I have them in the playoffs is um, ideally a full year of Kirill Kaprizov. I should say, let me pause while I bring up Kirill Kaprizov. Two things. One, it's out of frame, but like right here, Kirill Kaprizov jersey. I love this man with just about my whole heart. Absolutely stan Kirill Kaprizov. And in my heart of hearts, I hope this team bombs and finishes last in the NHL, and then Kaprizov comes to Chicago. That's my ideal world, truly. But anyway,
Yeah.
in a more realistic world where Kaprizov plays a full season with
On
the
planet
Wild,
Earth.
yeah,
Yeah.
where Kaprizov plays a full season with the Wild, this team isn't making the playoffs with a negative goal differential, frankly, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That I think is what tips it in their favor for me. And one thing I'll call out too, I guess, like I said in the breakouts video, like Marco Rossi is currently listed as their 2C, and you could mix and match this top six in all
Oh,
honesty.
he's
But
so good. Yeah. He's good. Yep.
but Marco Rossi, last I checked, still unsigned. So like we gotta see how that actually unfolds. So
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, just I
They're
guess
a great team. If
they
I didn't
really
have
are,
the
yeah.
Sharks in that second wild card spot, it would be the Wild.
And how could you take the Sharks out of that second wild card
Hey, but you
spot?
just can't. It's impossible. You have no idea how much it hinges on my mental health for the next like 6 months. No, just kidding. No,
Well,
yeah, but that's my reasoning. hey. But no, we have. Okay, now I can start talking. Like I said, I don't have to talk negative. I
yeah,
should stop doing that if they're making if I don't have them because like I
yeah.
said, I there aren't really negatives to say about I was just coming up with like their goaltending and stuff like that. But
I'll
you're
give you
right.
one if
It's
you
just
want, because I didn't realize this, but their bottom pair defensively, Carson Lambo, Zach Bogosian, that's kind of brutal.
yeah, not good, not good. That's what I said. I think their defense was more shaky than their
Yeah.
goaltending. I think their defense is kind of that could be like a sore spot for them that they could improve at the deadline and then
Yeah.
run and they'll be fine and they'll definitely make the playoffs. But
Valid.
we're starting with the Colorado Avalanche, which like I don't know. Is there really this isn't? I think the next three teams there's really not going to be a whole lot.
Yeah,
because they're
valid.
good and they're not getting worse. You
Yeah.
know, it's like they're good and they're not getting worse, and they're already good in a good division. They
Yeah.
already rake in a good like I don't
Oh, I lost you, brother.
actually.
You're back. You paused for a second. Might have missed something, but go ahead. Sorry.
So sorry. I said I do have them on my board. I actually is the 1 seed in the.
Oh, wait, that's interesting. All right. Tell me more. Why do you have them at the 1 seed?
I have them in the 1 seed in the Central, and I just think that this is Landeskog is back.
Sure.
Correct.
I mean, I think so. I wouldn't be shocked if the season starts and all of a sudden he's on load management or something, I guess. But
that could be true.
But I think
too.
the expectation is that he's full back.
Yeah, he's back.
No football.
So you get to start the season again. Hopefully, you get to start the season with him. And if not, I imagine he'll be playing games throughout. So
Yeah.
you just still will have them. You still have McKinnon, arguably one of the best players in the league. And I think Nikosh is going to have a great season.
Yeah.
He's gonna get comfortable. Full. I always like a full like off season with a new team. Not injured or anything, being able to be a part of all of the activities and stuff like that. So just like that line will be better. They do suffer. I mean, they have Brock Nelson too, which I think is a great addition. Again, he's gonna be there a full season. At least I think so. Again, who knows? They're bad. They trade him, but Brock Nelson there. I like his game.
Probably not after the extension. Sorry, but keep going.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I like that. I still like Lekkonen's game. I think, like I said, the team is good. The only thing that you could tell me is that who knows what Blackwood is going to be part of the goaltending rehabilitation facility.
Yeah.
You just don't know. Yeah. So that's there. But I think their defense, they added Brent Burns. He's super old, 41, 40.
Yeah.
Turning 40 this year. Already 40. So it's March. So yeah, 40. And I'm just not sure what he adds. But he is solid. Like I think he's a solid, like, he wasn't like terrible or awful with Carolina. 2 or 3 good years with Carolina.
Yep.
So I don't hate it. So yeah, I just have them top. I like their game. I think they have the energy of their captain back, Landeskog. I think
Yep.
they kill it. I think they kill it.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. Well, I'm mostly with you on this. I have them third in the Central, in all honesty. But I think, let me look at my league. I think it's pretty close throughout, relatively. But anyway, I do agree with you nonetheless. I think I understand where you're coming from here, and like I think the one takeaway from this last regular season, which was like bad beats for the Avs, dude, like all the injuries that they had on top of already
Yep.
not having Landeskog, and then losing Rantanen too, like that's just a crazy season to go through. But I think the main thing to like take away from that, if I'm an Avs fan, is like the insane success that Ross Colton had. Like, and
Yeah, that's
obviously, like
true.
you credit a lot of that to Nathan McKinnon, rightfully so. But that is such a good thing for this team in the long run, right? Like,
Gives guys confidence.
yeah, and you can play, obviously, like this is not a hot take, but you could play almost anybody with Nathan McKinnon, and they could put up Ross Colton at the start of next season numbers. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's I think like the biggest like difference maker for this team is just how versatile they are top to bottom, I think. So but yeah, I agree with you, and I do think this decor, like I just want to
I didn't
highlight.
mention Kale. I didn't even mention
Well, I was
Kale.
just gonna say the defense core, Cale Makar and Devin Taves are like I would say the best defensive pairing in the NHL. I don't think that's a hot take either.
Disgusting.
But this
Yeah.
whole like Sam Girard and Josh Manson is also like I'm
Good.
envious of that D pair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you throw
No.
Brent Burns in there too, and like all of a sudden, like what does that mean for Cale Makar at the end of the season, right? Like you have Brent Burns to lean on your power play. Like that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
That's something that you haven't had before as an Avs fan. Like yeah, and I agree with you as far as Blackwood goes. If I'm being honest, I think personally, I think Blackwood's going to be solid. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't have much fear there. Whoops. But yeah, I have them third in the Central, like I said, and I think it's pretty close at the top of the Central, like I was kind of alluding to as well. But yeah, all that said, I think I'll pass it over to you to move us on to our next team.
The Dallas Stars. Yes.
You're
The really still bitter about them changing the color green because it was so much
it's
better
so ugly
before.
now, dude. I'm with you on that.
So much better before. But nevertheless, good team, good result last year. Ending second in the Central with a ton of points.
Yeah.
And I'm not even gonna belabor the point. I have them second.
Yeah.
That's not gonna change. Team's
Yeah.
good. And they got one of the best players from the other team in their division that made the playoffs. That was really good.
Yeah.
And they added that to their team. So yeah, pretty good. And I think, he killed the demons. He killed the demons last year. He got his hat tricks.
Yeah.
I think that's just a positive. They lost still, but I think it's a positive way to end us. There was a lot of question marks with him in Carolina. I think that was weird, awkward, and didn't work out.
Did not fit the system.
No, and that's all right. It's what it is. That's what happens, and they traded him, and the saga's over. But the team's good. It's the opposite of Nashville. This team just squeezes offense out of you.
Yeah, it's pretty
like
valid.
ringing a towel. They just whoever it is gives you offense. We talk about players that we've talked about on this that have scored in the playoffs even, and they're not. Just squeeze offense out of you. But you got Wyatt Johnston, Mikko Rantanen, Jason Robertson, which I have a better year this year. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Right. He had a struggle last year, a little bit. But yeah, Sagan, Sam Steele, Rupe hit like the team. The top 6 strong. Defense is
top
good.
9, I would even say, honestly. But yeah.
Yeah, top 9 is really good. And then you just have a player like Thomas and Harley come out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere. Let's be real.
But I feel you. Yeah, I wasn't gonna push back on it. Like
but taking the Miro's
sense,
minutes and then playing absolutely better. Like Miro was injured. He started playing. He took over. Like he did not shy away from the big moment. So even if he doesn't have the same minutes, he has the experience and the he can do it. So
Yeah,
yeah, the defense is good. And Yapter, I one of the best goalies. So like, it's just an embarrassment of riches on all parts. Defense, goalie, offense, all good. They're making it. I would say that like you telling me I could switch the Stars and Avs. Yeah, I think for sure. Like I think the Stars and Avs are gonna
sure.
be like 1A,
Neck and neck.
1B for like the whole season.
Yeah, that's fair, man. I'm with you. I'm bang on with you. I have the Stars maintaining second in the division as well here. I didn't realize it. Just for the record, if I may, I did not look at previous or last year's standings when I was making my projections here. But I do have, but spoiler alert, I have the top 3 teams the same as they were last year. So
Yeah.
top 4 even. Heck, dude, my bad. Anyway, whatever. But I agree with everything that you're saying again here. I have I want to call out just a couple like underrated guys. Leon Bischel, pretty well underrated on this team on the back end. I think he's pretty solid, honestly. I really wanted to disrespect him last year for some reason, maybe division rival things, I don't really know, but like but he just I'm a fan, honestly. And Ilya Labushkin is in the exact same boat. I wanted to
So you have a
disrespect
Labushkin.
Labushkin. Yeah.
How could you not be happy? You know?
Yeah. So underrated back end as a whole, if I'm being honest. It's been that way for a while, I think. But
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
but
they've gotten rid of players like Klingberg. They've, like I was saying, they've gotten rid of players
Yeah.
like immediately. Like
yeah, but
they
like
immediately fulfilled Klingberg's prime, and
Yeah.
even better than Klingberg's prime. Like all these players that they've
Yeah.
gotten.
But you like that point reminds me, the NHL is like a Jim Nill Glaze factory.
That's true. That's
But
true.
like
That's
to
true.
Jim Nill's credit, like that point about Klingberg is why the NHL is a Jim Nill Glaze factory, because like this team, better than any other team, has like filled the cupboards while remaining relevant and
then
even
kicked
getting
the
better
old ones
along the
out
way.
at the exact right time, being like, no.
Yeah, I would
Like
agree.
everybody's been telling them to get rid of like Sagan and Ben, but they still like produce in important moments.
Yeah,
And as much as like not a big fan of Jamie Benn, but he still produces big moments, and
yep,
so like
valid.
it's just crazy. They're able
Yep.
to dish out them right at the right time, whereas other teams like
Yep.
just hug their old players for an
Yeah.
eternity.
Yeah. So last 2 thoughts I'll make about the Stars here, because like another team, I don't feel like I need to belabor the point too much, but probably worth mentioning the Jason Robertson dialogue is weird right now with like the trade rumors and it's either a trade or an extension, and it's kind of unclear which way that's going to go. I frankly feel like they probably figured it out, and it probably doesn't end up being anything. Although if they do figure it out with Jason Robertson, this is going to be like so much money tied up in wingers on this team, which is interesting, but that is probably a conversation for another time. Again,
Yeah.
probably just worth
Hasn't
mentioning.
hurt them yet. It hasn't hurt them yet.
Yeah, so I mean that's true, huh? They have Sagan on the wing here and Jamie Benn. That's their identity, is paying wingers a lot of money. And then the other thing though that I want to mention for the Stars is new coach. And talk about a new coach buff though. I think this team entering the season is getting a new coach buff, dude. Obviously,
good,
like the whole
for being
Peter
honest,
DeBoer craziness last year, like
oh my god,
whoa,
it
dude.
was nuts at the end of the year that he just went off.
Oh, you cut out.
Okay.
Sorry. What, nuts that he did what?
Sorry, towards the end of the year that he just went off the rails. So it's like, I hate Ottinger.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
went
it's
mask
just
off on Jake Ottinger. Absolutely,
Yeah, he
dude.
tried to
Like,
pick fights with their
100%.
goalie, which like
didn't even try.
in the
He just did
hockey
it.
world, it's like you never go after, not even on the ice,
Your
off the ice with words.
24-year-old franchise tendy, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like did you want out? And you're like, how do I get out of my contract? I guess I'll just go in public and fucking
slam Jake Ottinger, dude, just like he did with Fleury. Yeah.
So
Yeah, so-
Pete DeBoer, like I said, great coach. He is a good coach, but he's like, if
He's
he
got a
would
shelf
finish his seasons
Yeah.
with Stanley Cups instead of losing in the finals or losing in the conference finals, he'd be a great coach. He'd
Yep.
be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
But
no.
unfortunately, he can get teams almost there.
And he again has the most obvious shelf life of any coach in the NHL at
Yes,
this point,
yep.
I would say. Okay, actually 1 or 2 more points that I want to make. So again, new coach buff, but also it might escape me. Shoot. Not what I was gonna say, but highlight the point again of the top 9, I think is really solid. Oh, and Maverick Bork is who I wanted to touch on. Him and Duchesne and Jamie Benn, actually. as far as off ice chemistry, locker room things, the contracts that those three guys have signed here, and I won't go off on like the state income tax dialogue right now, but the low dollar amounts that these guys signed, it extends way beyond any state income tax thing. Like that is an indication of culture on this team. That those guys want to be here, and if that's any indication of how the rest of the team is feeling, that's a recipe for success. So yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to touch on. And the last one is Colin Blackwell. Shout out Blackhawk alumni. Colin Blackwell, very underrated player. To have him on your fourth line is sick. I think that dude literally was playing top 6 minutes for the Blackhawks 2 years ago. So not that he should have been, but yeah, Dallas Stars, good team, very good team. Second in the Central.
All right, now on to the Winnipeg Jets, which again is
I'm
another
curious
like
your thoughts here.
Yeah, no, I so yeah, there's only one spot left if anybody's keeping track and knows.
Yeah.
The third spot in the Central goes to the Jets.
Yep.
And the only reason is that like they popped off last year. I don't see that happening. They popped off.
Valid.
Popped off. I like that kind of season. I don't think is even like I think that's crazy.
Well, no.
I think that,
yeah.
Like they had a crazy season. They won the President's Trophy, yeah.
They
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
They won the President's Trophy so early too. Like,
yeah. So like they were just incredible. I don't think you get that this year. You got to be concerned about how Hellebuyck's feeling, and his mental coming into this season.
Sure.
I think that's genuinely a good. I don't think that's just talk. I think it's genuinely a good question because what the fuck are we doing? You know, like it was sub 800 way save percentage for a Vezina. Crazy. What happened? Never know. You just got to be worried about his psyche a little bit. And honestly, sure. I think you could trickle down economics a little bit. The psyche of the whole.
Sure.
They didn't stop scoring, so I don't know if I don't know if I could really continue to blame on them because you just have so much talent in there.
Yeah.
And you know, I think a few years ago we thought, oh my god, they're exploding. Scheifele's gonna go. Like they were all leaving. They all stayed, and that was like me initially was like, oh, that's kind of weird, but like clearly last season it showed why.
Yeah.
They're an excellent team. I really like their players on here, even their bottom six that I love. Writer, great little player. He's been in this middle six for now how many years, and just really giving them. I don't know if it's 20 goals per season, but close to 20 goals per season, sure. Which is just. I mean, that was playoffs. So I was like, he only scored 4 goals. That can't be right.
No, yeah.
17 goals, excuse me.
Right there.
17 goals. Point, yeah, like that around that 20 goal mark. I think that's just excellent. You're just getting a lot of time from somebody that your middle six forwards. He's 37 points, like just a good player. Nevertheless, their team's really good.
Yeah.
Connor is another player I really like. He's just a goal scorer.
Contract year.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, I still think they're going to be good. Connor Hellebuyck's good. I mentioned those things before. I don't buy into any of that. I think Hellebuyck's going to be good. I think they'll be another good team this year. I don't think they're going to win the President's Trophy. They're just going to be another solid Central team that runs through the Pacific. That's all you got to say. Yep.
Valid, dude. I'm not in the exact same boat. I have them winning the Central Division. I don't have them winning the President's Trophy. I am with you on that sentiment. To your point, like that's an unreplicatable season. Like that was lightning in a bottle, honestly. But
yes.
But I still think that they're really solid, and I think like the main thing when I was trying to think of like where I saw them finishing, I was thinking about Nikolai Ehlers, and like that's a significant loss.
Yes.
So like I mean I wouldn't be shocked if they're not the top of the Central, I guess is what I want to say here. But I also like perpetually the Jets have like not played Ehlers to his full potential, I think. Like he's like been disrespected with regard to power play time, and like just I feel like I guess like the good thing about that is I think that they're in a better spot now to replace him because they didn't like lean on him as much as maybe they could, or in my opinion should have.
True.
Honestly, you know.
Yeah.
So like So yeah, but same thing that I've been saying with the other two top teams in this division. The top 9 is nuts, dude. And I will say, like, I think.
Like,
Go
yeah, can
ahead.
I
Yeah.
mention something real quick?
Yeah.
Because I didn't mention these things, and I think they are worth talking about. So maybe we'll just get to it after you're done your point.
Sure.
The players they've added, I think, are like they're all. So I would take flyers on all these players, or
Yeah.
3 of these
Valid.
players. Like I would, I think they're like I think they're solid. I think they probably think Ehlers was about those players, right? A Nyquist, a Pearson, or a Taves, right? Like
Yeah.
that's why they brought in those players, right? So, anyway, sorry, I just wanted to talk about that
No,
because you were
valid.
talking about
Yeah.
Ehlers. Yeah,
Super valid. But yeah, so I was about to talk about Taves. The top 9 is solid again, and this is a top 9 that I think, like, you could put Niederreiter on your first line probably here and there and, like, not be upset with that. Follow,
no,
you absolutely could put on your top line and not be upset with that for a little while. So, and Nemesnikov too. I shouldn't leave him out. That's another solid player. So
Vladislav. Yeah, we love Vladislav.
but I will say, I think, like, the Taves story is beautiful. I love that man. I don't expect him to be like a huge needle mover on the team, not on the ice at least. As you were saying, what you were just saying about the top 9 and the ads that they've made, I noticed, which I didn't realize if I'm being honest, but I noticed that Adam Lowry is out and probably is going to be out for a little while. It looks like he's probably going to dip into the start of the
Big glue
season.
guy. Yeah, big glue
Their
guy.
captain, yeah. But
Yeah.
having Jonathan Taves, obviously, like, probably arguably what he's known most for is being a leader. So, like, that's a solid fill-in kind of player
Yeah,
to get,
substitute
right?
teacher, if you will.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't see them taking I see them taking a step backwards because, again, I can't see them, like, having the same season that they had last year. I agree with you about Hellebuck. A regular season Helly is just nuts. He always has been. I don't think that they're going to win the Stanley Cup, if I'm being honest, because I don't believe in him in the playoffs. I will say that. But, like, regular season Helly is undefeated. I mean, look at him. Literally won the MVP.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's
Yeah,
nuts.
he's
So
insane. But
yeah,
like, what is going on? That's
yeah.
crazy.
But and again, like, super solid decor. Moreover, this system. This applies to the forward group too, but the system in Winnipeg is just so plug and play. Like, you're gonna
Yes, I
find
mean you have
success
to,
with no matter
Dylan
what.
DeMello. It looks fantastic every night, and you're like,
Yeah, yeah. But
what?
Neil Pionk is, like, not a superstar, but, like, a dude excels on this team. Like, how?
Yeah,
Dude?
straight from the
They're
point.
Carolina West, bro. So yeah, again, I have them again, not blowing the doors off by any means, but I do have them top of the Central. And like I said before, I think that the top of the Central is also very competitive, just like the middle of the Central is, and I guess the bottom of the Central is competitive in a different way. So yeah, probably very close. I could mix and match any of those top 3 guys and middle 3
Yeah.
guys and not be, like, upset with it. So yeah, that's
No.
where we land.
Yeah, I would say in order for my prediction to be right, a lot of oh my
Oh,
goodness,
we lost you on cam, brother. You're
oh
back.
my
Welcome
goodness,
back.
my board. I was gonna say in order for the board to be accurate here, I think a lot of wrong in the central, which is
Fair.
my hope.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah. All right. I know you and I were talking about this before, but I think, if I may, I'm going to list off who I have in the West. Just my playoff teams. I don't really care to talk about, like, the ranking at the very bottom of the West. Although I will say St. Louis, again, just misses the playoffs here due to a technicality, I would think, probably. But so, if I may, for the West, in my opinion, I have Vegas at the top of the West. I have Winnipeg in second, Dallas in third, excuse me, Edmonton in fourth, Colorado in fifth, Minnesota sixth, Utah seventh, and Anaheim in eighth in the West. Frankly, I could see Anaheim even being ninth, even though I have them in the playoffs. But again, I just think the Pacific is going to be that weak this year that I see them making it in off a technicality. Yeah, so yeah, that's where we're at. I think that's our whole Western Conference breakdown for the standings now.
Yeah, into a
Any
much
closing thoughts,
spicier
brother?
East.
Yeah, the
into a
East is going
much.
to be a lot more interesting. No offense
I
to the
think the
Western
West,
teams, but
yeah, I think the West, I think the Central is the best division in hockey, hands
yeah, I agree.
down.
Yeah, has been for a
Like
while now, which is
yeah, I think
unfortunate.
it's not very close even. Like I think it's just one,
Yeah, I
and then
agree.
a cliff, and then the sort of the rest. But um, I do think the East has more interesting implications. I think you're gonna
Hmm.
have here's I guess some teasers for. But I think you're gonna have more new teams in the playoffs, and even though I did a lot for the West
Same
as well,
actually.
I think you're gonna have a lot more new playoff teams, or at least new positions. Like wild card teams are now second or first in their
Yep.
division or something like that. I think there's a lot more movement to be had in the East than the West. I think is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get at. So I think the East, just by that metric, is more exciting in that way.
Yep. I agree with you. I don't know. Looking at it now, I don't think my East is like new teams as much as I thought that it was, if I'm being honest. However, it feels a lot weirder, if that makes any sense.
Movement, yeah, it feels like there's
Yeah.
a lot more variability. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the right way to put it, honestly. But anyway, all that said, YouTube, thank you again for watching. Next part will it be the Metro and then the Atlantic? Zane, is that what you think? When we start the East,
Yeah,
will we
why
start with the
not? Let's
Metro?
do
All
the
right.
Atlantic last. Yeah.
Okay. So we will be
Talk
back
about the
soon.
Habs last.
Yeah, our premier fan base. But yeah, we'll be back soon to go over the Metro, and then round out the NHL in the following part after that. But thank you again for being here. Thank you for watching, and again, like I say at the end of the videos here, if you've made it this far, definitely subscribe, and thank you as well for that matter. But yeah, for now, we'll see you next time. Thanks again, folks. Bye bye.